Post-Dispatch reporter, friend of the show. I'm happy to say, Christine Byers. Christine, thanks for getting up early with us.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me, McGraw.
So tell us about this information. How did it come out yesterday, and why did it come out yesterday?
Well, the police department released the results of the gunshot residue tests that were done at the Highway Patrol lab. And the reason was they're just, I guess, going above and beyond in this. It's something that's not commonly done, but they have this new force investigation unit, and it's dedicated solely to investigating police shootings. And so this is what they're doing now.
Let's talk about the evidence that was released. So what was actually released yesterday?
What was released was a gunshot residue tests that were done on hands and clothing, and it showed that on one of his hands there was gunshot residue, and there was not residue on the other hand. And there was also residue on the clothing. So that, there's also the caveat with gunshot residue that if, say, you and I are in the same room and you fire a weapon, my clothing could test positive for gunshot residue, just simply being like in the same room.
Right.
But in this case, the police officer was standing pretty far away, and it was outside. And also the places where the gunshot residue was found suggest that Mr. Myers was the shooter.
Yeah. They also, the number of shots that was originally reported was 3, but it turns out there might have been more shots from Myers at the police officer.
They recovered 3 slugs in the ground, and then there was 1 found in a car that was behind the officer. So I think sort of as things develop in the investigation, more information comes out. And so they actually recovered 4.
They recovered 4, but there was also a bullet still left in the chamber, correct?
Yes. When I asked, how can you tell the gun jammed? I mean, that's, something suggests that he was continuing to fire. And they said that basically when they tried to examine the gun, there was a round that was stuck in the chamber.
Yeah. And Christine, the photo that we've been seeing, the photo that was on social media, Vonderitt Myers, the gun, one of the guns, also, didn't the police officer involved say that he was able to identify one of the guns from the picture?
Yes, according to the officer's attorney, the officer said that the gun in the photograph was the gun that he used that night. And of course, I said, well, how can you tell that? I mean, you can't see the serial number on the gun or anything that close, but apparently the gun is sort of distinctive. I will admit, I am not the best when it comes to knowledge of guns, so I guess they said that was a pretty distinctive-looking gun, but there was also further evidence to support. There was a medallion that Mr. Myers was wearing in the photograph that was actually recovered at the scene. He was wearing it that night, and he was also wearing the same shirt that he was on the store surveillance camera with that night.
So, do we know why the off-duty police officer stopped the teens or went after the teens in the first place?
Well, apparently he never did stop them. He just drove past them and they ran. And so that is what got his attention. And when they did that, that's when he got out and ran after them.
Gotcha. And he ended up running and capturing, or at least coming in contact with Vonderitt Myers, and didn't come in contact with the others.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is there also a question about, wasn't he wearing a hoodie in the store or a jacket or something, but he wasn't when he was in contact with the police officer?
About the hoodie, there's apparently store surveillance footage of him returning to the store with the hoodie on. And I have not seen that footage, but that's part of the investigation. So he was not wearing the hoodie, though, in the footage that we've seen.
Yeah. All right, Christine Byers from the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Everyone wants to know, and I don't know if there's an answer for this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. And that is, I understand there is a philosophy now that they want to get as much information out as soon as possible.
Yes.
But here you have a situation where a police officer shoots a teen, very similar, though different facts when it comes to Michael Brown. We know a lot more because they've released more information. But why is it that they haven't released the information, some of this information with the Michael Brown case, and they went so far in this case?
That's an excellent question, McGraw. I think a lot of people are wondering the same thing. And I don't know. I guess, that question needs to be directed at county police and the prosecutor's office, because it's, they're the ones that are in charge of the information, and it hasn't been released.
Right. Is it a situation where one's county, one's city? And I know there's been a rub now between some of the city management and the county management of the police, and so it seems like the city has taken this more open approach as opposed to the county?
Well, I mean, they're two different departments, and they can handle things,
right,
differently, obviously. I don't know if the city is doing this this way as a result of the Michael Brown situation, trying to get as much information out as possible. I don't know. I do know, like I said, that they had been working on the force investigation unit long before Michael Brown happened, in this new protocol in terms of handling officer-involved shootings. So that might be just the department policy. I'm really not sure if that's the reason why, but certainly being handled differently in terms of the release of information.
Totally. Christine Byers, great job as always. Great work. We can read your story today at stltoday.com and certainly on the newspaper on our front doorstep. Christine, be safe out there. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks, McGraw. Take care.
You got it. Christine Byers with us here at Big 550 KTRS. Here's another question.
That was a good question, that last one.
Right? I mean, that's what everybody wants to know. Well, and then there are many people who are critical. How dare you release all this information? Because now that looks negative on the guy we were supporting. But how come we want more information here, but we want less information over there? If you want information, you want information.
Well, if you want it, be careful with
what you're
get.
asking for. Here's another question that I haven't had anybody ask or answer, and that is, Michael Brown is shot and killed. This Vonderitt Myers is shot and killed. Creates all sorts of angst and protests and looting and anger out there. And we don't have any video of that. But we have a video of this man who had this knife who supposedly approached the police officer. We have video of that man being shot and killed in broad daylight a few miles from Ferguson. And there wasn't a blip. There wasn't a protest. There wasn't no news conference. No, we want more information. Nothing.
Well, very brief. There was a slight. There was like the Mayor Slay to talk about it, and so did the chief.
Yes. Yes.
But you're right.
But again, he had a knife and he charged the police officer. Oh, okay, fine. This situation, he had a gun and he fired at the police officer. No, that's a lie. So why is it that they believed the knife story but not the gun story?
I don't know.
It just makes no sense to me. None whatsoever. I don't understand what. And we have video. You would think if somebody were to be upset, that video of that gentleman dying is disturbing. And we right? I mean, with the Ray Rice story, right? It wasn't a story till we had video of him knocking his girlfriend out. Once the video, and we saw the video, we were all shocked by it. Here we have video of a St. Louis City police officer shooting a man in broad daylight, and that's not the one people are upset over.
There's no rhyme or reason.
It makes no sense.
It was believed that it was, unfortunately, justified.
Justified. He had a knife. But the man shooting at the police officer, 5 to 7 shots, that wasn't justified.
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know either. So I don't know. I'm just sort of asking the question. I don't understand. I don't understand. There's lots I don't understand. 7:31.